So I've been on the website FetLife, and I know there's a lot of fakes on the website, but I'm chatting with somebody who's clearly real, and she lives locally. And, it looks like, for all intents and purposes, I could have a meaningless hookup, with somebody who lives locally. And it seems like this woman has had a lot of romantic partners. She's actually attractive looking, but it seems like she's had a lot of romantic partners, and she's a swinger, and, obviously, me, I feel like I've been involuntarily celibate for my whole life. I feel wholesome, like a goody two-shoes. I'm interested in true love. But they say, Andrew, you're not in a position to be dating anyone. You're a 37-year-old man-child. You're dependent on your parents. Maybe you should go through with this meaningless hookup, because that's going to be the only intimacy or cuddling you're going to have. They say, use protection, but maybe you should go through with it. But I'm afraid of an STD or an STI. I'm afraid of HIV, hepatitis C, and so on. Yeah, I'm afraid this potential woman isn't clean. Somebody said, anybody who would be willing to date you or get romantic with you, Andrew, runs the risk of having, an STD or an STI, because, frankly, you're like the ultimate undesirable, Andrew. Who would want to date you unless, they're a little defective and damaged themselves? Nobody. So, you're not going to find a supermodel in her 20s who has tons of money. Andrew, if you could find a woman in her early 30s who's had a lot of romantic partners, who's a swinger, who wants to have a meaningless hookup, maybe you should use protection and go through with it, because, it's been years since I've last gotten romantic and intimate, and frankly, it doesn't look like I have anybody else on the horizon, and I'm really frustrated, so, maybe I should go through with this meaningless hookup, even though I run the risk of this person having a sketchy and unclean past. I want to find true love. I want to find my soulmate. I want to find love and live happily ever after. But also, I'm really frustrated, and I, want intimacy.